We're going to continue this series, A Scriptural Case for Conditionalism, in Genesis 2 and 3. I'm going to be camping here for a number of videos still. This one is to highlight that there's something about the tree of life. And so in Genesis 2, we have a second creation story. I think that it's fairly obviously different from the first. The first one, God is creator, he's sovereign, he's transcendent, he makes all things and he makes mankind in his image. In the second one, he's making this garden, he's directly involved in the dirt, he's breathing life into mankind, or Adam, and he's making them from the dust. Adam, there's a Hebrew play on words in this passage. Now, without going into all the theology, I'm sure to miss some important theology. Our focus is in this garden that God brings the human into. We have a tree of life, we have a tree of good and the knowledge of good and evil, and we have a river of life. Those things are important. They come up in Revelation. We don't have enough time in this video to discuss Revelation, but it is connected. So we have life in the human, and then we have this warning that first off, you can eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. And there's actually quite a significant debate around what this verse means, because when you go into Genesis 3 and they've eaten from it, they don't die. They don't certainly die immediately. So there's a couple of ways of dealing with this. First off, there's the idea of spiritual death. There was a spiritual separation the moment they disobeyed God, but that's not in the text. And I think actually the spiritual death complicates matters, and you'll see a video on my channel about spiritual death. The second view is that actually this is a sentence to die. From this moment, death became a part of the certainty of life, that they were headed in that direction. And a Bible scholar named John Walton argues for this, pointing out the other times that this phrase in Hebrew turns up in other passages of the Hebrew Bible. So I'd recommend looking at that. The third one is that actually this is God's grace. Yes, there's a warning that they might die, but actually he relents despite their going against him, and he gives them life. But then you have the curse, which is that there's an ultimate return to dust. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return. Death becomes a part of creation. Now there's an important point here to reflect on, that is in verse 22 of Genesis 3. And the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. There's something about the tree of life that gives us immortality. We don't have it without access to the tree of life. And that is an important part of our theology. When people talk about the eternal soul and immortality as part of who we are, that doesn't seem to be what the very first chapters of Genesis tell us. We have been expelled from this garden, we've expelled from the tree of life. And the question is, who then has access to the tree of life when God makes all things new? I'll leave that to you. If you haven't watched it, watch the 4.5 minute long video by the Bible Project on the Tree of Life, or spend some more time on their Tree of Life podcast series. You won't be disappointed. And actually there's more in that backs up conditional immortality as well, though I don't think that they would admit it. But anyway, that's for another time. Thank you for watching. Hope that's helpful. Let me know what you think.